Well, we're out here in the garage because we're going to be talking about a good place and the proper way to stack your firewood. And the garage isn't a bad place. I've got Paul Barrett from Green Venture here with me to talk a little bit about this. And as I was saying, the garage, not a bad place to stack your wood in the wintertime, but you don't want to leave it in there all year round, do you, Paul?
Absolutely. In the summertime, what you want to do is have that wood out so that it's being exposed to the sun and to the breezes, and you want it to be able to get nicely seasoned over the summertime. You bring it inside because it's going to start snowing soon, and we don't want it to be wet over the winter.
So why do you want it to be seasoned properly? And how, I mean, we're talking about just drying it out. That's what you mean when you say seasoning. Why is it important to dry it out properly?
Well, really, because wood is a fuel, and if you're going to burn it and burn it properly, you want to get as much energy out of that fuel as you can. And a dry, seasoned wood is going to provide you with that energy efficiency, and it's also going to reduce the harmful emissions that come off the wood. And when I say seasoned or dried, it's really about making sure that we've had that proper air on it and the sun on it through the summertime, and then you can test it.
Yeah, you're going to show us that right now. How can we test it to find out?
Well, first of all, I guess just looking at wood to know if it's ready to be burned or not. And you've got some very nice cracking in here in the grains. That's one way to know. It's also turned a different color. You think about when you first cut this, it would have been a lot lighter in color. It's pretty light. It's a lot lighter than it would have been when it was first cut. And in fact, when it's first cut, this would be about 50% water. And right now, assuming that it's nicely seasoned, it'll be about 15 to 20%. And another way to find out if your wood's ready is to do what we call the tap test. Should sound nice and hollow when we hit it. And
Perfect.
It sounds great.
That sounds nice and hollow. And in order to get to that 15%, I guess, humidity that you were talking about, it's important to stack it properly. And that's what we've done here. This is, I guess, the proper way to stack the wood so that you can let the airflow get through it. And maybe just piling it, you know, in a pile like that is not the best way. Why is that? Well,
the air just won't circulate through that. First of all, when you stack it, you want it to be up off the ground, and this unit is up off the ground, which is great, so no humidity will wick into it. Secondly, different size wood's great because it'll leave those spaces in between. And this wood is nicely cut already, so they've bought it cut or they've cut it themselves so it'll fit right into their fireplace in the right size for the firebox.
So you can be environmentally friendly just by stacking your wood properly, I guess you could say. And you guys have tons of tips about things like stacking your wood and just everything when it comes to being environmentally friendly. Where can people go to get more information about Green Venture?
Well, Green Venture website's a great place to start at, and if you want more information on wood burning, we've even got a section there that you can have a look around in.
So what is the website real fast?
Greenventure.ca.
That's great. Thanks for doing this, Paul. I appreciate
Thanks, Greg.
it. We'll see you next time on Hamilton Live. If you have a fireplace in your home and you're going to be using it this holiday season, there's probably some important safety tips that you want to keep in mind, and that's why we've got Paul Barrett from Green Venture with us today, because he's going to talk about some of those safety tips. And one of the first things I'll mention is that we've got a wood-burning fireplace insert here inside an open hearth fireplace, and you guys recommend those right off the bat just to begin with.
Yeah, absolutely. That's your best safety tip right there. First of all, the insert makes it a fire that's enclosed and not spilling into your home, and as well it increases the efficiency of your burn by about 70%, and that also reduces the emissions to your home and to the air outside by about 70%.
Now, we're about to prepare this insert for a fire, and the first thing you're going to do is you're going to clean it out. There's still some ash in there from the last fire, and it's important to get rid of that, I guess, before you start a new one.
Yeah, really, cleaning out your firebox is really about increasing the efficiency of your burn. So just getting it out and putting it into a container that's fireproof. First of all, either a metal container or a crock. And then if you dig that stuff out and get rid of it, that is going to give you a nice clean spot to start your fire. And these ashes, of course, they're cold. You're going to take them out when they're cold, and if there was a little bit of hot embers left in there, Greg, you're going to have it contained in a safe place. And then you can take it outside. You can put it on your garden. You can put it in your compost pile. And those are some great ways to get rid of it.
And you've got a fire extinguisher, a smoke detector there, obviously important things to have in the home, especially if you're going to be lighting fires.
Of course. Having a fire extinguisher handy that will put out all fires, like an A, B, or C, is great. And a carbon monoxide and smoke detector close by all houses have smoke detectors, but to have an extra carbon monoxide detector near your fireplace is a great idea, just in case the seals on your insert start to let loose. You don't want to have smoke in your living area.
Which is another great reason to also have your insert inspected regularly as well.
Definitely. When they're installed, they're going to be inspected by a trained professional. And once a year, you should have that same trained professional inspector come in and have a look. They're going to look at your chimney. They're also going to make sure that the seals and the gaskets around the door are working. And that's one thing that you can even do yourself, is to keep up on regular maintenance, to have a look at those. If you're noticing when you're having a fire and you've got the door closed and nicely sealed, if you're noticing that you're getting smoke coming out, then you've got an issue and you need to get a professional in to fix it up for you. And
lastly, we're going to talk about what to burn in there. We don't have a whole lot of time, but we want to talk about the important things not to burn in your fireplace.
Right.
We'll start with things like garbage. You got magazines that you're trying to get rid of. That's not a good idea, because obviously that's going to let out some toxins as well.
Yep.
Now, you say this wood as well, this is treated wood. Why can't you burn treated wood in your fireplace, or why shouldn't you?
Yeah, it will burn, but there's chemicals in there that you, first of all, don't want to breathe, and secondly, don't want to send up into the atmosphere or to your neighbor's place to breathe. Same with painted wood. So we always say that whatever you are going to do, burn only clean, dry wood.
Well, those are some great tips. And you have a lot of these tips on your website at Green Venture as well. What is the website for Green Venture?
Greenventure.ca, and you can look for Woodburning 101.
Oh, that's fantastic. So you know where to go if you need some more tips on lighting fires in your home this holiday season. Thanks for doing this, Paul.
Thanks, Greg.
No problem. Well, if you have a fireplace in your home, it seems that the way to go these days is with some sort of insert. What you're looking at is a wood-burning insert, which is apparently much more efficient than just having the open hearth fireplace. And I'm here with Paul Barrett from Green Venture, and you're going to explain why that's more efficient. I've always wondered, I mean, how is it that just inserting that into your fireplace makes it that much more energy efficient?
Well, I guess first of all, because it seals everything up when you're not using it. These new fireplace inserts are built after 1990, have these really tight-fitting ceramic and glass doors, and that's going to keep smoke from entering your living space. And smoke is definitely not something you want in your living space.
Yeah, you mentioned that's just a toxin.
It is, yeah. It's full of particulate matter, carbon monoxide, and nitrous oxide, so nothing you really want to breathe.
No.
And it's also, that smoke is unburnt fuel, so if you can use that again, you want to. And these units do that. So these units will take air in from the outside and feed into the fire itself. There's a little fan underneath here that brings in separate air that goes around the firebox.
So what we're looking at on the side there, that's not a vent that's going to bring the heat out. That's going to bring the air in on the side.
Right, yes. And the air goes in through a series of baffles, so it can't come back out the same way easily anyways. And what these units do is what it's called a secondary burn. And it allows the smoke that goes off the fire that would normally just go right up the chimney to stay in the box long enough to get burned again. So that unburnt fuel gets burnt. You get a doubly hot fire, if you will, and way less emissions. Less heat or less emissions and smoke going up the chimney, you're getting no emissions into the house because, of course, this will be closed and sealed tightly.
So where is the heat coming from then that's being sent back into the home?
Well, the heat goes around the firebox itself, and then it'll come out of vents. It's pushed through by that little fan that's down in here. It's a little electric fan.
Right.
And it pushes that air, brings it in, and then pushes it back out. So even in the case of a situation where we might not have any electricity, the fan won't work, of course. The fire will still work.
Right.
And the heat will still find its way out because it will move from different pressure systems in your house. So it'll still go through. And
you had mentioned that if you don't have it, your fireplace is about 15-20% efficient. What's the efficiency level when you do have an insert in your fireplace?
Yeah, actually, without the fireplace, without the insert, the best you're getting is about 10% efficiency. And
is that right?
Yeah, they even call it a -10 because when you're not using your fireplace, it's sucking air out of your house,
right,
which in the winter, of course, you don't want to do. When you put these fireplace inserts in, you could be getting as good as 70% efficiency on your burn.
So that's a huge jump, obviously. So what are people looking for then when in terms of grabbing one of these inserts? What's important to look for?
things that are CSA and EPA built and approved, they're going to be built after 1990. They're going to have these nice, tight fitting glass doors, and they're tight because there's gaskets around them. And you're going to get one that fits your particular needs.
Right.
And you can get much larger ones if you're trying to heat a larger area, or smaller ones if it's a smaller area.
And you have all that kind of information on your website. Where can they go to get that information?
You can find out lots more about wood burning at greenventure.ca.
That's great, Paul. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks.